Put your faith in the light.
Hello guys, welcome to another one of my videos. This is Lightblade, and well, in this one I wanted to talk about the nerfs that are coming our way in the next reset and how bad are they. So I already made a video talking about the anniversary patch a while ago, but I didn't consider a lot of things that lowered our DPS in that one. I mostly talked about the extra utility and healing that the patch is going to give us. While this is still true, our utility will become a lot stronger, especially our off healing and healing. Our damage numbers will go down, but by how much? So, well, estimates say that between 2 to 3% overall damage. So in the great scheme of things, not that much, because Retribution Paladin is doing a massive amount of damage. With that being said, let's see where the nerfs are coming from. Okay, the first talent that we're losing that gave us a considerable amount of DPS is Seal of the Crusader. So Seal of the Crusader was a very simple talent. Your auto attacks dealt extra holy damage. It had a really powerful interaction with the most used version of Crusader Strikes, Crusading Strikes, because in combination with the talent Blessed Champion, all your auto attacks hit 5 targets and also got hit by the Seal of the Crusader holy damage, which was really strong. At the end of a Mythic Plus dungeon, this was around 2% of your damage, so that's the damage that we're going to be losing from this. The next talent that we're going to be losing is Seal of Alacrity. Luckily, we're only losing half of it, but it's the half that is more important, which is the Haste. The Judgment cooldown reduction will just be added to the normal Judgment spell. So the Haste is, well, 4% that we're going to be losing, which is really powerful because it's Haste that is off the DR, so off the diminishing returns cap. Once we reach that section of the expansion, we're not close to that, but eventually that was going to be important. And this Haste is also multiplicative, so let's say you had a 30 haste % crusade with Seal of Alacrity that effectively gave you an extra 1% haste because of the multiplicative nature of it. So in terms of how much percentage damage we're losing, 1% haste is roughly around 1% extra damage. So yeah, we can say that we're losing 4% damage from this thing as well. The next talent that we're going to be losing, and one of the most important ones, is Seal of Order. So luckily we're only losing half of Seal of Order. The Blessing of Dawn part that gave us like an extra 10% damage on our Holy Power Spenders is still going to be there. Now it's just going to baked into the normal of Dusk and Dawn. The part that we're losing is the cooldown reduction, which is 10%. And that accounts to around 10% extra haste that it would give us in cooldown reduction numbers. Luckily this isn't real haste, so the damage percentage that we're going to be losing from this is around 4%, because it's not going to affect your GCD or your auto attacks to proc other things, you know, it's just cooldown reduction. Now, if we account the total numbers of damage that we lost as Retribution Paladins, we have 2% from Seal of the Crusader, we have 4% from Seal of Alacrity, and we have 4% from Seal of Order. That leaves us with a minus 10% damage on the next patch. But Blizzard was not going to leave Retribution like that. They are also going to give us buffs. So the buffs that Blizzard is going to be giving us are the following. 6% aura buff, just flat out. This is really good. This is going to counteract the first 2 nerfs that we got, you know, the Seal of the Crusader one and the haste from Seal of Alacrity. And after that, we are going to be getting another buff in the form of Vengeful Wrath. This is a talent that is now going to be always picked because it's free damage, because it's a lot higher in the talent tree, well, in the new talent tree, which is going to give your Hammer of Wrath 60% extra damage whenever anything is under 35% health. This is going to be around a 1 to 1.5% extra damage gain. So that's going to counteract the 4% damage nerf from the Seal of Order that we lost. So we're going to be losing around 2.5 to 3% damage next patch with all those buffs taken in mind. Now, can this be counteracted even more? Well, yes, there are some forms where you can actually gain some extra damage. First of all, you can, instead of, well, in the new talent tree, we still have Recompense. Recompense at the end of a Mythic Plus dungeon is going to give you around 0.5% of damage if you use it on cooldown on your tank. While this is a bit degenerate and a bit dangerous, because you're always going to Blessing of Sacrifice your tank to get the extra damage, it can give you that extra 0.5% damage if you really need it, you know, for next patch. Using this, your total damage loss next patch is going to be around 2%. And well, yeah, Now, that's one of the ways that we can counteract this nerf. The other one is basically using other builds. So, historically, Retribution Paladins have used builds with lower haste, and for that we have used Templar Strikes. One of the biggest downsides of using Templar Strikes in the past was, well, that Crusading Strikes had that interaction with Seal of the Crusader, making it always have that extra 2% damage at the end of a key, you know, because Crusading Strikes was hitting everything. Now, with Seal of the Crusader gone, Crusading Strikes doesn't have that interaction, making Templar Strikes a lot more valuable. Also, Templar Strikes gives you 2 holy power, which can also counteract the loss of cooldown reduction on Holy Fire Spender, so we have more stuff to press in the meantime, so we don't stand there just not doing anything, you know. Obviously, this is mostly theory crafting on my part, but I do think that we are going to be using Templar Strikes next patch because of the lower haste values that we're going to be having. Obviously, a lot of things have to change if we use Templar Strikes. Things like, for example, Seal of Fervor are no longer going to be as useful because we're not using Crusading Strikes, so we might be able to move a point from here maybe to Vanguard's Momentum, so we take advantage of the Vengeful Wrath buff, you know, and that we are always going to be able to pick it. So we have 2 charges of this, and we can have a really good execute damage on bosses. Some other things that might change next patch is we might be using Swift Justice if we go for a Templar Strikes build, to just have more cooldown reduction on this thing, because it hits like a truck. On top of the 6% R buff, it's going to be doing a ton of damage, and it works with a lot of critical strike with the Templar current build really well, because the extra dot damage that is going to be happening on the second hit benefits from the main hit if it crits. So the dot also is critted as well, so the damage is going to be a lot higher. So like I said, it is mostly theory crafting. Hopefully we can turn those nerfs that we got maybe into buffs with some smart building around the new talent setup. And well guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Sorry if my voice sounded a little weird, I have a very nasty cold. And I know it sucks to get nerfed, but like I said before, maybe we can turn those nerfs into buffs with smart talent changes and stat allocation. Anyways, if you enjoy the content, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching everyone.